impossible not to already be counting the days till the final round on the 360 agenda. 12 months on, his suspension served, James Hird returns to Essendon. We'll ask Bomber if he crossed paths with the coach today. Richmond has a place in the eights. The week will be dedicated to the question whether it can complete the streak and hang on. And the impact unfortunate injury has on a tight group of teammates. Brent McCaffer faces a second knee reconstruction. I'm Gerard Waitley, here's Mark Robinson. This Monday night, it's footy from all angles. Hello, Robbo.
Hello, Gerard.
Good weekend of footy.
Oh, it was a great weekend.
And a better one to come.
Yeah, it all fell into place, didn't it?
Enough of it did.
North Melbourne winning opened it all up for everyone, so really, really looking forward to it.
Yep.
How was your party?
Oh, you ask me later. Ask me in 360 seconds.
I heard you disgrace yourself.
Yes, that would be me.
Shots. You were drinking shots at 2 a.m. in the kitchen.
A Monday hero, Robbo.
I've got... sometimes I play around with heroes, but I thought this performance by Andrew Swallow in the last 10 minutes of the North Melbourne, I wanted to talk about the North Melbourne game. He was everything that I thought Andrew Swallow was going to become as a captain of the team. And Jack Ziebell's got some plaudits, and so he should. Andrew Swallow's last 10 minutes was phenomenal. And I mean that, Gerard. The game was on the line. It didn't mean much to North Melbourne, but look at him. He was just... I'm going to say this, and people are going to laugh at me. He was Voss-like in his impact. He was throwing his body in. He got so many clearances. You know what he did? He got to where the ball was going in the dying minutes of a hard game. And everyone wants to get to those positions, and Andrew Swallow got to him. And I think he's been building and building with his Achilles. And in the last 2 weeks especially, I've seen a lot from Andrew Swallow to think, good on you, young fella. You're back and you're leading this team. I think how everyone thought he was going to be leading it when he got appointed, if that makes sense.
Yep, it does. It makes perfect sense.
He was mighty, absolutely mighty.
So determined to shape that game by his sheer will.
Yeah, that's what it is, you know. I know you think sometimes I talk about will and substance and all that sort of stuff, but that is what footy's all about. Tactics didn't win that game in the last quarter. Andrew Swallow won that game in the last quarter.
Yep.
And Jack Ziebell, with his 4 goals, of course he helped.
Yep.
But anyway, that was mine. What was yours?
Nice. I'm heroing the Port Adelaide community, as this is a constituency that is absolutely stitched in with its football club at the moment. Friday night was terrific anyway, but it was spine-tingling in the lead-up. This has such great potential as the growing theme at Port Adelaide.
Hey, Gerard.
This was Koshy's idea, and he wasn't forcing it on anyone. He said, we'll just do this and see if people like it and if they want it, and let it grow organically. And with the scarves up and the words going, and it's only just announcing its possibilities. I think that has got such strong possibilities in the next couple of years, where you lower the music and sing along.
Yeah,
that's right.
That's forever. That's here to stay. Now, people on Twitter were criticising it. I can't believe that
there are narcs everywhere. Bugger the narcs, Rob.
What's happened to you over the weekend?
I mean, doing shots.
Come back, you're doing shots of vodka, and you've come back a fighting man. At our end of season drinks on 360, Port Adelaide scarf over your head, 3 shots of vodka straight down, and I'm going to put it on my iPod, and you're going to dance. And I'm going to film it, and we're going to put it on the show next year. I probably went too far with the filming.
Maybe. I won't rule it out. The agenda, top of the agenda, unreservedly, unashamedly, unapologetically, it's the ladder at this time of year. Let's get the ladder up and sit it there. There are 11 teams in contention. The last double chance spot is up for grabs. The last place in the 8 is up for grabs. So this has panned out perfectly as the best finish since 1987. A team at a time, Robbo, from the top down. The Sydney Swans.
Perfect.
So, barring something crazy, they sewed up the minor premiership yesterday.
Yes, they did.
How does Sydney approach Saturday?
You know, I always say I tend to believe Coach, as John Longmire said, he'll be putting his best team out there. I would reckon if players are sore, just a corky or something like that, they may rest them. But if not, I don't think they put anyone down. I really don't. They could drop 10 players for all I know. I really don't know. But John Lymeister, say after the game, will be playing our best team.
Yep.
And I believe him.
Best team or best available team?
Well, we'll find out on Thursday night. We might replay exactly what we're talking about. Now, we spoke to Michael Voss on SEN Radio on Saturday about this very thing. About do you take away momentum? Okay, because players and clubs get into a drive.
Yep.
Right? And they just keep it going. That one win builds on another win, and it builds and builds, and I feel that sometimes, if you take away that momentum, can you turn it back on? I don't know. They're a very, very, very good side. They might be able to do it.
This is John Longmire today.
And we want to make sure we continue to play well. If players are sore though, we'd have to be silly to risk them. So it's that's the decision we'll make during the week. If they're sore, they won't play. But if they're ready to go and they're feeling good, players like to play. They like even Josh Kennedy this week. He was champing at the bit and did some running today up there, and he was really disappointed he was not playing. I had to grab him by the arm and say, mate, you're not playing this week. And they're competitors. They want to play. They want to keep going. They want to continue to be in good touch and good form. So that's the other consideration to take into it as well.
See, I didn't hear that today. I believe that. It's a fundamental of football, I think.
They won't play in the extreme red zone, though, the Swans, because there's no need to.
Depends. You've played competitive sport.
In the last portion of it.
If the ball comes to these guys, they're natural warriors.
There's one other story around the Swans today, and that was the racial abuse from a crowd member at yesterday's game, which was directed towards Lance Franklin and Adam Goods. It was not heard by the players. Again, the crowd self-policed. A 70-year-old was ejected and had his Western Bulldogs membership revoked, and police looked into the incident. This was Franklin today.
Oh, it's disappointing that it's still happening in the community, especially at football games. But yeah, it's obviously very good that the crowd's come forward and spoken up. I think it's definitely just something that needs to be cut out of the game, and the more we can teach people not to be racist, the better for the game. So I think it's a positive and a step forward for AFL.
Well, buddy.
We'll continue to march through the ladder here. Hawthorn is in second place. Late season matchups always mean something regardless of where you pitch the motivation along the way. 10 goals
Odd comment
straight.
by Chris Scott, wasn't it? I'll ask you about that next.
10 goals straight after being under a stranglehold from the Cats. Have they broken the Cats' grip?
No, they haven't. They broke the grip on Saturday night. I do believe that in every game it starts afresh. But it's difficult not to think playing Hawthorn again in 2 weeks, the Cats players won't forget the 10 goals in a row. I said a couple of weeks ago, Jared, if you're a Hawthorn fan, you'd be pretty proud of your football club. I reckon they would have been pretty proud of them on Saturday night. 30-odd down and win by 20. It was a convincing display. I don't know whether it's resilience or self-belief or it's just they've got really, really good players who stand up at really, really important times.
It's all of it.
But they do it time and again. They are a mighty team.
This is Sean Burgoyne today.
Yeah, no, it's always good to beat Geelong. Those wins have been, haven't been too many over the last few years. But one thing we expect when we play them is a tight, tough game, and that's exactly what we got on the weekend. And I'm pretty sure everyone enjoyed it. I think the games against Geelong are probably a bit different to most. We've had games where we've been a few goals in front, and Geelong have come right back, and they've obviously beaten us. And those games, you're never safe. So that's one thing to take out of it, and it does give you belief that your game plans and your structures that you have in place hold you in good stead, even when you are 5 or 6 goals down, that you can come back and have a win.
So the other side of that coin is Geelong, and how did you interpret the Cats' coach in the aftermath?
Right at this point in time, we're feeling pretty positive about the night. But we played really good footy in the first half, and I think it was it sounds funny to say, but it was a step forward in our preparation. And we were really playing for the right to play the other team in Melbourne in the first week of the final. So the stakes are clearly different to where they'll be next time. And we'll learn some things from tonight. So in that respect, it's kind of mission accomplished a little bit. But I'm certainly not sitting here saying at halftime we said, boys, we've done the job. Let's let them walk all over us in the second half. But on balance, I thought it was a pretty good game. I suspect the next one will be even better.
It was a good game.
They still have to beat the Lions to make sure that the rematch happens in the qualifying final and anchor down third place.
You would think so. What are your thoughts on Chris Scott's post-match?
Well, you can't sit there and go, gee, they ran all over us, and that's not a great portent for 2 weeks' time, can you?
No, I don't think you can.
So Geelong showed what it's capable of against Hawthorn, and then Hawthorn comprehensively showed what it's capable of against Geelong.
The point of difference which Hawthorn's got and Sydney's certainly got is their ability to score quick, and we saw that from Hawthorn on the weekend. So you give them a sniff, you really are at your own peril. One thing about the Cats, and it's been highlighted for a couple of weeks, the first half compared to the second halves. I don't know, it can't be fitness. I don't know what it is, but psychologically Chris Scott will be found out in 2 weeks' time if he's a genius or he's holding fears or he's a genius in 2 weeks' time. Big blow, Shane Kirsten. You may think that's just an off-the-cuff remark.
So Dawson's finished for the year and Kirsten's done the hamstring.
So who comes in? Is it Brown?
So McIntosh has to play first ruck from here on, and he was found wanting.
Who's the
on
tall?
Saturday night.
Yeah, he was.
It can't be a tall. It'll have to be. I think it'll be Steve Johnson. I think he'll have to.
You don't think they're going to go with
forward.
Walker or Brown?
Not in my opinion.
Geez, how's the pressure on Tom Hawkins?
Yeah.
David King wrote 3 weeks ago that Tom Hawkins is the man. We're going to certainly find out.
Fremantle met the challenge in Brisbane yesterday. They met it ruthlessly. They hold fourth, but they are still under threat for that position. So while they've been elevated to premiership contention, they still have to make sure they have the double chance. A lot went right yesterday. The little bit that went wrong at the start was Matthew Pavlich.
Yep.
And the question is did he send a shudder through the camp?
Yes, he did. There's no doubt he did.
Stripped, ready to play.
Yep.
Something not right. Withdraws.
We
Don't
won't.
make the trip for fun to Brisbane.
Well, you certainly don't get stripped for fun either. Don't know what you do on your Saturday nights, Jared. But you don't get stripped as a footballer for fun. The issue is, at round 21, you don't want your best forward not playing because of an injury.
Fife out, Barlow out, Fremantle to face Port Adelaide, who'll throw everything at them. You want Pavlich there, especially on the form we saw the previous week.
Yeah, we do. Right, that's the concern, the positive.
But let's hear Ross Lyon before you move to the positives.
Not a finger pointing.
He just tightened up in the warm-up. When I saw the physios, they come and grab me, so it's a no-risk equation, so we tapped him in.
Is it an injury, or is it something that could cost him next week, or is it just something that...
Well, they have to do an investigation. He just tightened up in the quad, and so hopefully they'll do some investigations and more stuff will come to light.
We'll see. Is the positive name Michael Walters?
Oh, no, there was a couple. Michael Walters is certainly one, and I went crazy last week, so I'm going to chill out on him. But in that first quarter, when Walters and Ballantyne and Main played his best game for the year, Ballantyne and Walters were just electric. They kicked 4-8. Seriously, watching the first quarter, it should have been 7-8 goals, and what did they finish with? I know we're on TV. 15-16. I mean, it could have easily been a 22-23 goal performance without Pavlich away to Brisbane, who are pretty solid at home. I mean, I thought it was a pretty comprehensive game by Fremantle. I wouldn't mind Pavlich back, though, this week.
OK, they face Port Adelaide. This was the performance that so many of us have been waiting for. Can there still be a late season surge? And were they to beat Fremantle, Robbo, would that put Port in premiership contention? If they could grab fourth, would you consider them a title contender?
Yeah. I actually think, Jared, they're a title contender from fifth. I'll tell you why. I think they're going to get the home final, 5th v8. So then they're on the road. And what I've seen of Port Adelaide this year against Sydney, I've seen some pretty good football. Now, Friday night's opposition was poor. Okay, but Mick Malthouse was asked after the game, was it them or was it you? To be honest, they were poor. Port Adelaide were just ferocious, mate. I know you really, really like Port Adelaide, and we all do when they play that manner. They were ferocious without the ball, and when they got it, they were just running in numbers. It was Port at their very best all-round game, defensive and offensive, and they made Carlton look pathetic.
It's something to work with. North Melbourne, I'll pose a very narrow question here. They're going to host an elimination final.
Where will it be?
It'll be at the MCG.
So there's no finals at Etihad Stadium?
3 won't end up in Melbourne, will they? The first 2 will get played at the MCG.
Say it's Essendon. So it's North Melbourne and Essendon. Have they got? We'll check this over the next. So Etihad misses out in a final this year.
It's only if you end up with 3 finals.
But is it North Melbourne and Essendon's home ground, Etihad Stadium? Wouldn't that be like a pretty even ground to play?
Let me ask you this: is Jack Ziebell actually a forward?
Now, yes, no doubt. No doubt. What we saw in the last 2 weeks, what we've seen, I'm going to say this saying again, a point of difference. North Melbourne have found in the last 2 weeks, they may have done it throughout the year, but I haven't recognised it or I haven't seen the results of. Cunnington goes forward last week, kicks 4. Ziebell goes forward this week, kicks 4. Suddenly, bang, you have to watch Cunnington, you have to watch Ziebell and whoever else they want to play forwards. It's just given them something else. And I think how fortuitous, a week from finals, Brad Scott's got another trigger he can pull and he knows it can be successful.
Okay, Essendon shapes as their likely opponent in that match. They booked their place into September. My question here, Robbo, is could the Hurley-Carlisle switch win a final?
Oh,
because when Bomber pulled the cord, immediate. It was immediate.
Yeah, it was. Hurley's in terrific form, absolutely terrific form. He's like a lion at the back. He really is. He'll attack, and he went forward and he did really, really well. Carlisle had a bit of a mare, but the ability of these two is the ability to switch them. And it worked on the weekend. Hey, mate, it'll work. This is going to happen for another... Don't worry about the next 4 weeks, how long it goes. This is going to go on for the next 8 years.
This is Bomber's gift to Hurdy.
Yeah, they were both working on it. But we've seen a lot from Carlisle, and there's no doubt Hurd's going to come back and see a different, more improved Hurley. But that's not Essendon's issue, the talls. That's not the issue. That's their smalls to kick goals. We just talked about Ziebell, we talked about Cunnington, and I mentioned Ballantyne and Walters and Main, and we've got Bruce. We didn't mention all these goal kickers. I think Essendon's got an issue with their mid to small forwards. They've got to kick a score.
Okay, Richmond. Feels like the football world revolves around Richmond this week. So how will they handle it? What happened today after they moved into 8th place in the second last round?
You dare to dream this week about finals? We've got another game to win. Looking forward to an opportunity against, obviously, the quality outfit of the comp.
Can you believe that? You're excited, though?
Of course, we're excited. We're excited for every game we play.
Obviously, exciting week for you guys this week.
Oh, it's the same as every week, mate.
Big challenge, though, with Sydney to come now.
Oh, the top of the ladder, so, yeah.
Obviously, a big week for you guys coming up, isn't it?
It is, yeah. We've the ball's in our court, mate, so we can have a real crack at it, I suppose.
Just your form at the moment, how would you describe it?
The side's form's been reasonably good. We keep playing the footy that we want to play, and that's all we can ask for.
Excellent. And do you think the dream could come true?
Oh, well, you can only hope, can't you? Sydney are a very good side, and we've got to put our best foot forward to try and beat them.
Really looking forward to the challenge. Obviously, it's going to be a big task to fly out there and take them on, but yeah, very much looking forward to it. Thanks.
Geez, I'm glad I'm not a TV reporter.
So that was the approach today. Here's my question to you. If you were Damien Hardwick, how would you approach the week?
Embrace it. I would embrace it. Now, I'll be honest, Trent Cotchin, they were probably 2 of the most boring answers I've ever footing. Jack, another week. It's not another week. You know what? This is everything. You give it everything you got. Now, you either try and treat it the same as every other week, but it's not. It's not, because the result counts for so much more. You embrace it, you love it. You know, I'd love it if Jack Riewoldt said, I can't wait to get to Sydney. Now, that doesn't mean if they lose, we're going to say, oh, you got ahead of yourself, Jack. No. I can't wait. And you know what? I want 10,000 Tiger supporters to come up there.
In convoy.
And get up there. And you know what? I want to Put it to Richmond. Put a big screen at Punt Road on Saturday. Let us live the dream as well. So we can go from Essendon, Carlton, walk 300 metres and we're at Punt Road. And we've got back-to-back. It'll be just fantastic. That's how I would approach it. How would you approach it?
I'm with you. I'm in your camp.
Something's happening on the weekend. You are just ginned up. You are ginned up. To borrow your line.
I can't understand rolling down the shutters at this moment.
That was odd, wasn't it?
Yep. But everyone has their own way.
Well, what would you have? You would have got up, wouldn't you?
I reckon that clearly they were all told not to stop.
Yeah, they were.
Yeah. I reckon it's reasonable to say, why don't you stop, Trent? Why don't you stop, Jack? This is a good moment.
Come on. All the fans are loving it.
Anyway, they'll get there. Collingwood, they're ninth. Nobody really believes they're going to beat Hawthorn and make it. We'll talk about them as the week goes on, I'm sure. But how devastating is the loss of Brent McCaffer? Not for now, but this is a second knee reconstruction, and we heard from Nathan Buckley that at three-quarter time, when his teammates knew his fate, there were tears in the huddle.
I was a fantastic press conference by Buckley, but we don't expect anything less. I didn't expect him to say that about Brent McCaffer. I don't know Brent McCaffer well, but I've spoken to a lot of Collingwood people about Brent McCaffer, not just this year, over the years. I look at a guy who did a knee, and I look at a bloke who lost his best mate, in John McCarthy. And I looked at a bloke wondering where his footy's going to be when he gets back. And I looked at a bloke who's worked himself into a role where it is a selfless role being a tagger and you're doing it for the team. And he was heavily criticised for the job on Cochin, I think. And you know what? It put him out of sorts. But he just keeps grinding and grinding and grinding and grinding. And Buckley knows what he's going to get out of him. He's going to get everything he's got. So when one of those players goes down in the team, it's just not felt for McCaffer or McCaffer's family. It's felt by all these players who he helps every week. You know, there's a handful, there's probably more. I know people think I talk crap because I haven't played AFL, but it's not about playing AFL. It's about playing team sport and recognising people within your group or in your organisation who give everything they've got for the success of the team. And that's what Brent McCaffer does. And that's why people were crying for Brent McCaffer.
And this is McCaffer's view of the challenges he has ahead.
Having been through it before, I know sort of what to expect and the hurdles coming up, and obviously going to have Matt Scharenberg with me as well, so try and look after him and guide him through it as best as possible as well. And you know, obviously the season's pushed back a couple of weeks later as well, so there's little things there, and just try and keep us motivated.
What's the mood at the footy club at the moment? It's just the club is so injury ravaged.
Yeah, it's not ideal, and it's a bit of a shock with all these injuries that are happening, and I'm not too sure what to make of it, but the guys we're staying as positive as can be expected. So big game this week, and hopefully the team that can go out there can avoid any more injuries and hopefully get a win.
Speaks well, doesn't he?
He does.
West Coast, Jared, I'm going to host. West Coast, 10th. They play Gold Coast. Up north. How am I going?
So are the Eagles the favoured way? I think they are the favoured way. I don't expect them to do it.
You don't?
Nope. I don't expect them to beat the Suns. I saw the Suns on Saturday, and West Coast, every time they've got to these key moments, they haven't quite been good enough.
They choked.
So why would they suddenly be good enough now?
I think they've found a little bit of substance in the last 5 weeks.
Yeah,
I really do.
They are playing better footy.
They are. They've got a weapon. They are kicking scores. Now, you've got to kick goals to win, so clearly their defence is improving as well. They're much maligned midfield, Jared, and people say, oh, they've got to get a midfield. They're Gaff and Shuey and Maston, they're too young. These three have actually been really central to their revival at the end of the year, and when they've got the weapons up forward, and he's doing really well. What did you see from? Can we go straight on to Gold Coast?
Gold Coast they just got that competitive edge back, and they'll want to finish off strongly at home. I'm just not sure West Coast is good enough to travel to Gold Coast and win. I reckon there's a big body of work there to say the Eagles are about where they should be. And, you know, if they go and win, good luck, they'll probably make it. Adelaide will get the last shot at it. Unless the Eagles win big, a 90-point win for Adelaide, something like that, against St Kilda at the Adelaide Oval might be enough to get them there. And they'll have the lure. They'll know with 2 hours to go what they need to win by. And we've seen this before. So how many chances does Adelaide want?
Yeah, they're not good.
Have they frittered their chances away? Not just
if
on the
you're
weekend.
your girlfriend, you'd say, got to go. Can't trust you anymore. Can't trust you. They just get themselves in positions. I mean, it wasn't a bad. It was a pretty solid game down at Tassie, mate. It was a pretty solid
it's
game.
not that they've played atrocious football. It's just every time opportunity has opened up for them, they haven't been able to grasp it.
They're just not quite good enough.
Fundamentally, because they're not quite good enough.
They're not quite good enough. Who are they playing?
St Kilda at the Adelaide Oval. And depending what happens with West Coast, if it's all alive, it might be a 90, 95 point result.
St Kilda won't allow that to happen. Sorry. St Kilda, they were fair against Richmond yesterday. I know we've had a long drawn out, and it's been fantastic to see him say goodbye to Lenny Hayes, everyone. You know, this is it. No, I believe that people can lift. I really do.
Yep.
I really do. And
Well,
I think they're not going to go there and lay down.
We wouldn't have thought Port would beat Carlton by 100 and something points.
No.
So these things can happen. Anyway, so that's how it all looks this week. It's going to be
well
good.
done.
It's going to be good fun.
I can't wait. Yep.
One more, and we put this on the bottom of the agenda. James Hird's return to Essendon today. His 12-month suspension served, and his eyes are firmly planted on the future.
Oh, it's exciting, yeah. It's exciting to walk back in the club and, just be back finally. I wouldn't say emotional, just excited to come back to work, and there's a lot of work to do, so looking forward to getting into it.
I'm excited to have James back. I mean, James is, it's been 12 months of sanction. He served that sanction, and we're welcoming him back into the club, absolutely.
The roles are pretty well defined. I mean, Bomber's the coach till the end of the year, and he's done a fantastic job, and I'm so proud of the players, the way they've played, and the whole club, the way they've performed the whhole year. So, no, it won't be hard. I'm concentrating on 2015, and there's a lot of work to do.
We didn't want this to ever be a distraction for the players. The players were, we want the best interest for the players and for Mark, and we felt that James's role, and James felt that his role would be best served focusing on 2015.
At the moment, Bomber's the coach this year, I'm the coach next year, and we'll go forward from that.
So James Hird back at Essendon headquarters, where Mark Thompson spent the day looking back on what had happened and preparing for the finals. Let's bring him in and find out if they crossed paths. And Paul Roos as well, who's got 1 week left of this season with the Demons.
So what a battle for Bomber Thompson's boys, but they've overcome the Gold Coast Suns and they are finals bound.
They're pretty excited. We should be proud. I definitely am of the players. I think they've been an incredible group. I think they've been dealt a hand that's been awful. So for them to make it, if that's, it has pretty much guaranteed. It's fantastic for them. I'm glad they get something out of it, and that was the reason why we're all here, for them, because they've been treated pretty badly. I've never experienced anything like it. Yeah, not so much pressure on young men. I think it's easily understated how much pressure's been on them.
Just having a bit of a laugh with the security guys.
No, happy to pat everyone on the back, Bomber.
No, I just go by myself, mate.
You made friends on the way through?
I just walk by myself. Yeah, it's all about me. No, not really.
Paul Roos, welcome. And what's the moment of accomplishment like, Bomber? A couple of days on.
It's good on reflection. Yeah, it's good. It's quite an achievement, I think, by the group. It was hard last year, but it's been a different hardness this year. It's been one where probably got into their heads a bit more. What the future looked like.
They've struggled with the on-field from time to time. They made hard work of Saturday, and so did Gold Coast. Made hard work for them.
Yes.
But it seemed to sharpen the mind very acutely when they were a goal down and they realised what was at stake.
That was what I liked about the day, Jared. When it really got serious, they just went bang, 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 and got stronger around the ball, moved it aggressively, and finished off. What do we end up kicking? 3 goals at the end or something? And
5 of the last 6 years.
Why are they waiting?
I don't know.
Why do teams wait? Why can't teams start like that and go all the way? Instead of waiting till they get a goal down and say, oh no, we better move into gear.
I think it's the psyche of the group though, isn't it? Like the psyche just changes. You know, a team starts coming back and they, start to think, and then they get a bit more conservative because they don't want to mess it up. And then the other team goes, well, geez, we got to score here because this other. So it's just it's the psychological
when you're
of
busy,
the teams.
when you're really busy, your head's doing a lot of things,
Yeah.
and you just get sick for 10 days, Robbo, when you get when it's that stage. But we have to play a game of footy, and I just wonder, like the day before, Cronulla, accepted the offer from Asada. And it just makes you wonder, like the few days before that, and then the questions they're asking themselves, and looking at their future, whether it sometimes can take something out of your concentration.
Yeah, there's no doubt that the mates would have asked each other, would you take a deal?
Yeah.
We were asking each other at work, would you take a deal? Everyone asked that. Everyone over the weekend.
You're talking about every player group going into a game, and you're not sure what the mindset of 22 guys are. But you're talking about a team that on the back of what happened with Cronulla. So you'd imagine I don't want to call it a normal team, but a normal week for a team that hasn't been through this. Every player, my wife's, crook, and my son, I've got to take my son to school, or I've got to go, what am I doing today? But imagine throwing that in as well.
So when that happens, can you guys tell distressed players when they got outside influences and you go to them and say, do we need to know anything? Not bad, but just normal life issues?
You like to hear around the club, Bomber, don't you?
Yeah.
That's why your player welfare is so important. It's no longer just about the X's and O's. It's about making sure players front up every single week. And I think clubs are generally a lot better, Bomber.
Do you pay a lot of emphasis on it? Do you think that...
your assistant. That's why your assistant coaches need to be not just talking to them about the footy. They need to be finding out about how you're going, and if something gets said around the club, you have to follow it up and you have to work out.
It's such a game up here, though, isn't it? From week to week, it's
absolutely.
If things are on people's minds, it certainly comes out in their game. Yeah.
It's like Port Adelaide. Sorry, how can Port Adelaide go out on Friday night and play that sort of football they played, whereas 4 weeks ago we were wondering what has happened to this football team, because they're not moving the ball, they're not ferocious, but it was back to sharp. They look
I reckon
on.
Port's a really good example of. You need 18 players to move the ball and 18 players to stop the other team. You can't have 13 or 14 or 15. Yeah. I thought Port was a really good example of that. They're back to having 18 players all moving when they've got the ball, 18 players all moving when they don't have the ball, and that's the jump you can get.
Would you say they're there yet, or would you say would Kenny Hinkley be sitting there saying we're back, or would he be saying, "Ooh, we're still"?
It was a good step, but he would have to demand improvement all the time, wouldn't he? Yeah. Did you think they were back watching them play?
Yeah, I thought they were back better, but Carlton weren't.
No, they weren't great
opposition, having sort of lost their opportunity to play in the finals the week before. But no, they looked a lot better than they've been.
Did you smile when Courtney Dempsey backheeled over his head?
Yeah, I'd never seen that before in my life.
Have you seen this?
I haven't seen it.
Have a look at this.
Have
we got it? I hope so.
I actually thought, what happened there?
Have a look at this, right? And this was... Look.
Did he mean that?
No. You can't mean that. No.
Look at this.
It's amazing, isn't it? Hadn't even looked.
You know you're having a good game. Did you have a good game?
That play was pretty good.
It was pretty good. That's extraordinary.
He's skillful.
Did you have time to go to the box? Wow, did anyone see that?
Yeah, no, we did. We said, we just...
Did that really happen?
Did that really happen?
The replay.
Yeah. Dyson Heppel looked like he was the first in this morning, and it didn't look like he had a cast on his hand anymore.
No, he did some ball work this morning. So, I still saw looking at it there.
Is he playing or not playing?
I can't say that he's definitely going to play, but what I've been told is really confident about playing, yeah.
So how do you weigh up that you're in the finals?
Yes.
How do you weigh up whether to return him for this or whether to be cautious and wait for the first week of the finals?
Generally on the doctor and Dyson himself, if he says he can play, he'd be confident about playing. Those two guys are majority of the decision making.
So what's the fear that it opens up again?
I don't know. Yeah. If he gets another knock on it and
breaks
but
again.
it's probably got,
depends on the plate. Is it plate?
Yeah, it's a
It's
plate.
normally where the screws are in, isn't it?
That's
Where-
right.
Have you guys done it? Have you played with a screw, plate in your hand?
Oh, not me personally, but I've had players that play with it before
I've
after
played
1 week.
with like a pin in a finger, but that's a lot different to the break.
Is that marking or spoiling? I'd have to say marking. Were you a spoiler?
How did I
I
do
think
it?
you're
I
a
can't
bit of
remember
a
how I did
marker.
that, actually. It was a
You
long
didn't
time.
have to
It's
spoil.
It's
Just used to
96.
read it and come
Let
off.
it run off. Run to the right.
Did you come across James Hird today at the club?
No, not at the club, but I caught up with him today at about 2 o'clock. He came out and we had a meeting, and just a review meeting. So, yeah, it was all good. It was a bit, as soon as he walked in the room, and people hadn't met him before, woo, you know, and they're a bit different in the way they behave, so that's a good thing.
So was it with staff?
Yeah.
Yep.
Just
And
the coaches.
Did James address the staff, or how did it
No.
go?
I'm not sure what he did at the club, but no, he'll probably have a chat tomorrow, I think, with the staff and the players. He's back.
Everything's nice and relaxed?
Yep. It's a pretty smooth day.
Ice bucket challenge, didn't you challenge him?
Yep, he's doing it tomorrow.
Is he really?
Yep, my word, he is.
Welcome back. Welcome
just
back after
payback.
12 months. We'll just dump ice on you.
Like a bucket of ice on you.
Welcome back,
That's all right.
James.
It's a great welcome
Just
back.
give us a little bit of an insight. How much contact have you had with him over the year?
Not much at all.
Why is that?
Because I think it was like we had to get permission whether we wanted to talk to him or go and have dinner with him, and they said, well, there was a lot of controversy, like, you know, Willie rang and is he still pulling the strings, and I just wanted to cut. I wanted to do the whole year perfectly, and he was having away from the club, and I was coach, and I wanted people to clearly know that we'd keep him by the rules.
Well, there would have been a circus. Imagine if Bomber caught up with Hird at a restaurant and they took a photo of it.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm in the media, and it is a photo. But then the speculation would start, is he coaching? It was not. It was just best to chill out, wasn't it?
Yeah. I thought. Yeah. Is that okay?
Yeah. It's up to you.
Have you made up your mind about next year yet?
No. What? What are you...
The
What are you doing?
role.
I had something in my eye.
Did you
Hey, they're going to, if he stays, they're co-coaching, Rizzy. Simple as that. Call it whatever you like. What? Who was doing that? Call it whatever you like. They're co-coaching. If he stays. Anyway, how are you going? Do you need a co-coach? I'm joking.
No,
How are you going?
Yeah, it's a tough finish to the season. I think Bob had touched on it before. Teams that can't make so you really got to get your players up and try and, you know, we've got 1 week to go playing the Kangaroos, and they've obviously got a lot to play for. But yeah, you're just trying to get across to your group how important it is to set standards and keep those standards. And for some guys, you know, regardless of whether it's us or Essendon when you make the final, for some guys it's career defining. You know, last games of seasons can change your fortunes either way.
Like
So I
to stay on a list or...
yeah, absolutely, and I think that's the same with every club. Probably more so when you're a club like ourselves. But that's the challenge for the coaching group this week, to get the players back up. And I think we saw on the weekend, you know, a lot of the teams out of the fight, you know, really struggled on the weekend. You know, but that's a challenge that we have, and we've got to embrace that.
You saw Dean Cox on Saturday night. Do you have any sense? Do you think he's got a little bit more footy in him if somebody approached him?
Oh, look, it's always hard if you're on the outside of a footy club, because we don't know what happens in the physio room and the doctor's room and how hard it is for him to get up every single week. Look, he looked good on Saturday night, but often when you only got a couple of weeks to go, you get a bit of a lift and you get a bit of a boost. All I can say is, you know, he's been an absolute all-star, you know, player for many, many years and one of their best ever at West Coast. So just a fantastic career, and you know, he's ended on his own terms, I suspect, and so he should.
Footy's, I just want to go back for a second. Footy's a great leveller. And I reckon, in my opinion, you've been levelled a bit. Paul Roos was a champion player, great coach, premiership coach, grand final coach. And you've gone to a club and there's the Messiah, and you know, I know you're not going to like this, but it's the $1 million+ and Roosy's coming in. We sit at round 22, Roosy, and Melbourne's 17th. How much has this been a reality check for you, the person?
Oh, I don't think it's a reality check. I think everyone was pretty clear on when I went in how I think I think it shows how quickly expectations can go up. We always knew that it was a team that was a 2-win team, 50-something%. I've been really disappointed, probably for the last 4 weeks. I mean, after the second bye, we've really been really poor in most of those games. But reality check, I think if you go back and talk, when Peter Jackson spoke about the club last year, I mean, everyone was pretty honest with where it was at. Yeah. It's just, it's going to take time, and I know Melbourne fans, I feel for the Melbourne supporters because, I've only been here 10 months, but I feel like I've been there for 6 years because you carry the baggage of all that time. There's no question about that.
They've had a much better year, Robbo. We all know that, and we shouldn't write it up any other way. They're fantastic, for a patch of games where they got their confidence up and they were loving their footy. Remember, going around the crowd in Adelaide.
They beat your mob.
Yeah, they beat us.
They beat your mob, didn't they?
Yeah, but I think they've had a good year, and if you look back in history, you'll always find that the poorer teams drop off at the end.
But
of
is
the
it a demanding year? I wasn't having a go at Rizzy. It's a demanding year.
Oh, yeah.
When you've won 4 games and you're playing elite football.
Yeah. It's frustrating, but I wouldn't have taken the job if you didn't know what you were going to do, and I think I said that from day one. I knew what we were in for. Yeah, people say, is it harder or... I mean, that's irrelevant. We were where we were, and then at the end of the season, you finish where you deserve to finish. We need a really big pre-season. We need to continue to improve. But I knew it was going to be a tough gig. I mean, there's no doubt about that.
Richmond, if you were coaching Richmond this week, would you embrace the excitement or would you run the shutters down?
It's a tough one.
What would you do? Not what should they do, what would you do?
Probably depends on your playing group because some playing groups embrace it. Like naturally, it's hard for, I suppose, Bomber and I to tell because you don't know the psyche of the player group themselves. If you thought it was a group that was going to get excited about it and could handle the media and could handle the pressure, then you would embrace it. If you thought it was a group that wasn't able to handle that, Bomber, I reckon you'd try and protect the group.
I reckon this year again showing that they're probably best if they don't handle it that well. There's massive expectation and pressure from their supporters, aren't there? Like every time they win a couple of games, you guys write in the paper,
They're on a hiding to nothing.
They're on a hiding to nothing.
They really are.
Just keep it level, keep it
They get ahead of themselves, but we from the outside think, go on, let's embrace it. We're all excited. Why can't you buggies get a cue ruler for them?
They're thinking if we embrace this and we lose, we finish 9th, and everyone's going to... They finish 9th.
9th again, yeah.
So then everyone's going to go, what's the big deal? So I think they've handled it... I think they have to handle it that way, Bomber, I suspect, because it's... They are on a hiding to nothing, really, aren't they?
They've all come out and just all standard answers, haven't they, the players?
Yes, very much so. Very much so.
Do you guys have moments to think at a guy like Brent McCaffrey and think, God almighty.
Menzel.
And Menzel and Scharenberger, with no one really knows.
Yep.
This young fella just going off and he's Jonathan Patton with it. Does that affect you at all? Or just
it does. Yeah, absolutely. I think every coach. I saw McCaffrey and you looked at it, you saw the replay and you were trying to work out. And then when you hear, here it is here, there was nothing, absolutely nothing.
That happens a million times a game.
He didn't even sort of twist or anything like that.
Identical to the way I did my knee. Backwell.
But the Scharenberg ones, the poor kid's come in with a foot injury. Just get back there. I think he would have only played about 3 games.
Not many.
3 or 4 games. Patton, young blokes. Patton's second one. Absolutely, there's no question. I think everyone feels for those.
It's like
guys.
he's got a Bulldogs hat on.
The LA Clippers. And then a player like Sam Gilbert, who, he has toiled so hard to get back, and his ankle goes on him again. And the distress down on the bench. This is pretty raw. And then the coach, he wants to say something to him.
Yeah.
What are these moments like between a coach and a player?
Supportive.
And after the game, but you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't, Bomber, too, because you don't want to say too much. You want to be supportive. You know they're going through some really tough times, and that, I think what it shows you, despite sometimes when you get letters from fans and fans, we understand why they boo players at times, but players are invested. They're really invested in their careers. They don't want to go out and lose.
Even as coaches, I reckon sometimes we really take that we sort of take it for granted too. You know, oh, it's injury. You know, we support, but to them, it's their world, mate. It's their whole life, and it's just another massive setback that is monumental for. In some of these cases.
All right, finish off strongly. You'll have more to play. Finish off, Rosie, and we'll talk to you next Monday. I imagine that'll be a pretty taxing day of exit interviewing and that sort of thing. So we'll see you in the aftermath of it.
You might not get it.
Paul Roos and Mark Thompson on AFL 360 on a Monday night. Coming up on the couch, Michael Ferrito, North Melbourne's just about reborn defender in recent weeks, and then open mic, one of the great Lions from that era of success, Mel Michael.
Task for Gordon.
I think that's well and truly acting there by Jimmy Bartell. From just outside 50, it's a mongrel kick, but it's a goal. Doesn't matter how you get him.
Walters from 50, no one in the square, all the way home. Superb.
Can he jump up over the top and take a mark? It was like the grand final.
Running hard, going for goal, and that's what they were doing in the first 11 rounds.
That's a very good mark inside 50 by Adelaide.
Oh, yeah. I reckon he's giving it away now.
It's another opportunity. Griffiths and takes it and
this time to Jetta.
Just got a handball. Josh Thomas. Collingwood lead for the first time today.
After the siren for a three-quarter time, Langford has drilled the goal. He's got it. Hawthorn in front. Crowd is up and about.
Pick of the action, the rest of the issues on the Hungry Jacks. 360 seconds. Robbo, does Buddy have to be more careful?
Yeah, of course he does.
You've been saying this for 3 years.
I called it the Buddy tap. He runs in late and hits people with the inside of his arm all the time. And usually he gets them high coming down there and he gets a free kick, but I reckon it's a strike. But if you don't strike him there, he strikes him with that part of the body. He's really smart. He doesn't get reported for it.
Yes, but that wasn't reportable.
No, it wasn't.
For the people who keep jumping up and down going,
no, it wasn't.
We start knocking blokes off for that sort of stuff.
No.
Jeepers.
Could he add the Brownlow to his Coleman, Jerry?
I reckon he's in it. I know we've been conditioned away from this sort of thing by the way the umpires have voted over the past decade or so. But he's such a magnetic figure in the way that he plays, and biggest name in the game first year with the Swans is... I have this sense that he will pick up votes along the way. It's maybe 6 best on grounds and stray votes here and there where we've been conditioned to think that he won't. I think he's in it. I'm not saying he'll win it. I think he's in it.
Let's give me the best Brownlow.
Yep.
You're calling it this year. Do you work for Brownlow?
We'll be there together.
Oh, are we?
Yeah. God willing.
Good. Can't wait for the Brownlow.
How do we stop diving?
Oh, I wish you didn't ask me this question.
We talk about it.
Yeah, I know.
We talk about it. As professionals have to take...
I'm writing something tomorrow, Tuesday for Wednesday about it. It's Monday.
Yeah.
They talk about taking me sap from me.
Well, I'll answer it.
No,
we abhor this practice in soccer.
No.
And it's the players who are responsible for it.
I'm going to say it. I agree with that. There are moments it comes when everyone goes, we can't have this anymore. When Goods and Lindsay Thomas put their hands up or dive forward, we're sort of conditioned because they do it a lot, not habitual, but a lot. When Jimmy Bartell does it, you think, what's it come to? Jimmy, that was really disappointing to see. And we've written a million great things about Jimmy Bartell, so we can say one negative. That looks shocking.
Let's just self-regulate.
We have got to now bring in a rule.
No.
We
do not need a rule.
No, it's a free kick, Joe.
No, but the umpire can't pick that because he paid the free kick to Bartell. So you're asking him to do something that he can't possibly do.
Yep.
This is the player's responsibility.
No, I disagree. No, they don't go by the code.
Don't bring another rule in.
That's not a rule. It's a free kick. That's not a rule. Unsportsmanlike behaviour. Hey, you only have to do it twice and it's out of the game. Next. 2 suckers have to get caught for the good. As Ross Lyon says, sacrifice one to educate 1,000.
But that's not getting paid. The free kick got paid to him.
Only take two, Jared.
How are they going to pick them?
When they dive forward like this, like Superman,
but they're getting
bad luck. You take the free kick off them and say unsportsmanlike behaviour. Bang! It's going the other way.
I can't pick that.
Yes, you can. We picked it.
He didn't.
Did you pick it on Saturday night?
But the umpire didn't.
Well,
it's not about us.
but it's not in the rules at the moment, mate. If we put it in as a free kick, they will pick it, and then it will disappear. Anyway, I was going to write that tomorrow.
Still right. It won't have nearly as much impact.
Okay, so how do I write armband? Did Pods have a bad half hour?
Oh, yeah. He'd like this half hour back.
Yeah, he would.
He'd like the half hour back. The set shot kicking, so it was within his capabilities.
Yes, it was.
And he's been a good kick throughout the years. And then
Got the ball,
undisciplined stuff. I actually thought he was a bit hard done by, but he did it and he left himself open.
But you
to it, so
don't
that's
give
bad.
himself an
Right, we've got a rattle here.
Yeah.
What did you see in Spencer White?
Yeah, lots. Raw, can mark, tall, run. Can't wait to see him in another 2 years' time when he's mentally stronger. He has to defend a bit. He's got interesting action. He's big. I don't know. Did that answer it?
He showed a glimmer.
He showed a lot. He showed a lot.
Right.
Was this goal review correct? You got 10 seconds.
Yes, it was, but it does, I think, emphasise the fact that we are pretending just a little bit.
I'm hurrying here because I want to get to
Cox be
question 8.
sounded out for next season?
No, I don't think so.
Next.
I think Dean Cox is done. How was Mike's 40th?
Your shadow lingered over the night.
Did it really?
Although
I saw you tweet a
television
photo.
went on.
Have we got a photo?
Guests, Big Doug over on the right, who was a Hawks fan, and Nathan was up next to me, and Mike's party got hijacked.
Where's all
by the fact that you?
There's not a lot of drinks on the table. What was it? Was it
Players night
under
tomorrow
14s?
night. Jordan Lewis and Bob Murphy in to share the perspective of those who participate.
Where's the boys?
And that's a nice use to McGrath, man of the moment.
65 out, short pass to Ash McGrath in his final game.
In appearance 214 and last for Brisbane.
Lays back and gets a consolation goal that brings the crowd to its feet.
Well done, Ash McGrath. And rightly so. Every player in the Brisbane Lions going around to pat him on the back.
There he goes. He's up on the shoulders. Well done to Ash McGrath. Been a very good career premiership player, Vossi.
The last remaining premiership Lion on Brisbane's list will be chaired from the Gabba, and the fans here hope that shortly there might be 22 others that could claim that tag as AFL premiership player.
It was a nice send-off for Ash McGrath.
We're doing it, the players are doing it so well.
We have used every last second goodbye. Let's head on the couch with Jared Healy.